What is up, everyone? We are in February. It's Super Bowl weekend. We got the waste management on. I'm not sure if you've started, Kurt. It looks like it's raining there again.
It started.
So we'll have the waste on all weekend. We got 155 college hoops games after a light night last night with only 3 games on the docket. Gav, I'll bring you in first. How you feeling this Saturday?
Yeah, good, man. Obviously, big Saturday card. You know, we got the big game tomorrow. Going to be awesome to watch North Texas and SMU. But excited for this main slate.
Yeah, same. Kurt, we got a bunch of games here. We got 3 big slates today. We'll be focused on the main slate here on this show. How was your week? Are you enjoying the waste management? What's going on? Kurt, starting the show on mute. You freaking hate.
Sorry, I hate to make random noises, but it's been good. I've been trying to tune as much as I can when EuroLeague ended yesterday, but it's on and off then with the daylight. But I'm gonna lock in this week and have it on one of the TVs probably around 4. I gotta have both the games on until the first window games in. But excited to get into it. It's a huge weekend, like you said. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, we can get some bankroll building from college basketball so we can all blow it. And emphasis on blow it on NFL tomorrow.
Yeah, I will certainly be doing that. Gav, I played the EuroLeague slate with Kurt yesterday, and guess who broke it? Our guy Oscar Da Silva started for min price, went for like 50.
Go.
So that was fun.
You cashed easily, did you not? You should have cashed everywhere easily.
I did. Yeah. All right, let's dive right into it. We got 12 games to talk about here. Start with Alabama at LSU, Gavin. Alabama games have been good to us. They're obviously great for DFS. I'm seeing Bama minus 7.5 now, total 166.5 to get us started.
Yeah, Bama's off, the predictable, I would say, down Auburn spot where, the final score got a little bit out of hand. They're still tied for the lead in the SEC. LSU's off the, Tennessee blowout. They trailed 50-27 at half without Jalen Cook that game. And he's the big question here. His health status is going to be, maybe the key news component to the slate. This is an LSU team that gave up 109 to Bama in Tuscaloosa last time they played, lost by 21. So second and third fastest tempos in the conference. Just Bama is much more efficient in that realm. So both these teams are going to attack the rim, at a pretty high rate. So it's going to be a couple of spots definitely that we're going to need with, the highest total, I believe on the slate, 166.5.
Yeah, Kurt, we started off with a banger here for DFS. We see Sears is priced up for Bama, but the rest of the pieces got a bit of a price break here, Kurt, especially with Nelson and Estrada coming off a couple of ho-hum games for them. What are your thoughts DFS-wise with these Bama prices? And then, like Gavin said, we only really have a couple of news spots here, but Jalen Cook is obviously a big one and a huge game total. What do you think DFS-wise, Kurt?
Yeah, so I think with the news, am I on mute? Am I good? Okay. With the news that we won't get the Castro cheapie, I think it brings these Bama mid-tier more into play for me. I was already going to have exposure, but I think I'll have more with some of the mid-tier builds like Estrada and Nelson. It feels sketchy to run them both together, but I do like the idea of in most of the lineups having one of the 3 Bama guys and then maybe mix in one of the cheapies that Gavin likes. I keep looking at him and I'm really tempted to do it.
Yeah, Gavin's a Jared Stevenson guy. Put him on the playbook. Yep. Excuse me. So he's cheap at 3.8. He's been seeing, 20-ish minutes in their last few games, 19, 23, and 20. Gav, DFS thoughts here. I mentioned the cheaper Bama, the non-Sears guys. They haven't really seen like the 30-plus minutes lately, but they've also been in 2 straight blowouts on both ends.
Yeah, it is a good question. Like you're talking about Reitzel and Griffin.
No, Estrada and Nelson are under 7K for the first time basically all season.
Yeah, I mean the Estrada price definitely sticks out. Over 2,000 less than Mark Sears. Definitely like him in this spot. I think people are going to click on a decent amount of Estrada just because this game itself I think is going to see a good amount of ownership. I think a pretty interesting way to go about this game is, pending the Jalen Cook news, is playing 1 to 2 of the LSU guys because I think like Will Baker is a fine play at 5,800. If you're going to play 30 minutes against Alabama as a big, you're going to hit value way more often than not. So, yeah. I like Will Baker a lot. I think like if Cook sits, you can run something like a Baker, Hannibal, Estrada stack and get 3 pieces from a pretty good game. Nobody really at a high price. You still save a couple spots in your lineup for the dudes, but that's I think one way definitely to access this game.
Yeah, the Cook news is big. I think I like. Do you like Will Baker either way if Cook is in or out? He's.
I don't
had,
think Cook affects him a ton, maybe just a little bit in the usage department. But if we're playing Will Baker because he's a big playing 30 minutes at home against Bama.
Yeah, he's seen 32 and 36 minutes last 2 games under 6K. Love that. So you think Hannibal is the look if Cook is out? I think Hannibal and like maybe like a Mike Williams. I wish these guys were a bit cheaper though, right? Like I wish we were getting 4.8 Trey Hannibal, not 5.5.
No, Hannibal with no Cook is a stone lock at 5.5. You're not even thinking about it. You're just plugging him in.
Think so?
In my opinion, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he's already seen the minutes. He's seen 29 and 31 coming in. I'm a bit less excited to play him. The peripherals have been there though. 20% rebound, 27% assist over the last few games. Oh no, I was looking. Yeah. So Hannibal's gonna be a good play, barring the Cook news. Any last thoughts here, Kurt, on this game?
I'm doing the 150 today. I think if we do get the news kind of early and I can adjust, I'd like to have like out of my 150, 80%, like 70% Hannibal, 20% Mike Williams, something like that, and then 10% without either. I kind of like that idea. Such a good game environment that they're 5K. They kind of make when you build, you kind of fall in that range or like 5K range, that last spot. So I think it kind of makes everything easy.
Yeah, I don't get the warm and fuzzies saying that LSU guys are a must on a 12-game slate, but the game environment's so good. All right, Gav, let's move on. Yukon at Georgetown.
The only other thing I'd add is Hunter Dean could miss this, which if if you're playing the minimax and you're 115, would bring like Darius Fountain into play as like a GPP flyer. But yeah, like last I saw, Hunter Dean was, I think, questionable, expected to miss with an illness.
Yeah, I've got Fountain on the playbook. I think I have Jalen Reed also on the playbook under 5K as well. All right, let's move on. We got Yukon at Georgetown. Yukon minus 16 here, Gav. 142 total is what I see on DK. I can't play any Georgetown guys here with a 63, 64 team total against Yukon. What do you got here game-wise?
Yeah, Yukon's just one of those teams I'm not really in the business of playing guys against. 11 straight wins since that loss at Seton Hall. They are DFL, dead last in tempo in the Big East, which makes sense. They've been banged up throughout the season. I think, not pushing pace and just out grinding and out executing teams in slower possession affairs is going to be working well for them. They only won this game 80-67 in stores the first time. So, do they get pushed? Like the two main sets that Georgetown finds their offense in, Yukon is elite defending. And Georgetown's off they were scrappy against Seton Hall with Jay Neps back after he had the fucking flu last week when I said he was a great play. That was fun.
That was annoying.
So, yeah, I think, for this spot, it's probably going to be Yukon guys are past. I'm not going to be playing in Georgetown. So, yeah, I think that's not going to be a ton for me in this game, honestly.
Hey, Kurt, I'm pretty sure that you're on board with the Georgetown fade. Thoughts there, and then anyone in Yukon you like or on Yukon you like here. We're not really getting any price breaks on anyone in a projected blowout, though.
Yeah, what's funny is when I pulled up to the 150 today, the first thing I did was just X out Georgetown. And I think I X out Rutgers or someone else. Not Rutgers, or somebody else. It was Wisconsin. I X out those two teams first completely. On the Yukon side, I will have a little bit of Clint. We'll have a little bit of Donovan. I won't have as much as last week. That was extremely hurtful. But if somehow they do even get pushed a little bit and he plays 25, could have a monster game here. Sprinkle a little bit of Caravan. No made team plays for me on the Yukon side, and obviously no Georgetown.
Yeah, same here. We saw Caravan return to play 34, Gav. He's under 7K for the first time in a while. I think he's interesting, but nothing for a main team for me. Any last thoughts here?
I think Caravan can be interesting, from the perspective of he's below the Castle and Klingon. Klingon could easily foul. Caravan was banged up with the injury. If he hits a couple threes, he can definitely crush that price. I
Get
would
10
definitely
boards.
have him in the player pool.
Yeah, get 10
Yeah, I
boards.
put him in the player pool because I know that some subs are playing the mini max today. I think he would definitely be in the pool if I was playing a bunch of teams. I'm playing 2 or 3 today in the queue and stuff, so I will not get to him, but I think he's a decent look. All right, let's go to a low total game here with Wisconsin at Ruckers. Wisconsin cannot get out of their own way lately. I think they've dropped 3 straight games. Going to the rack here, Gav. Low total, I've got it 130.5. Wisconsin -3.5 on the road. I did not take the bait this time. I bet them on the road last game against Michigan, and they just couldn't get a stop. What do you think here?
Yeah, not only could they not get a stop against Michigan, they couldn't get a stop against the walk-ons that Juwan Howard had put in when he benched Nkamwa and Doug McDaniel for stretches. But yeah, this game is pretty disgusting. You know, I will say maybe the most interesting stat I've come across all year is that Rutgers is number 1 in tempo in the Big Ten. Wouldn't have expected that. They're also dead last in adjusted offensive efficiency, effective field goal percentage, 2 and 3-point percentage. It is just a woeful offense. So I wouldn't even mind, like, honestly taking an under spot in this game or like a Rutgers team total under that I might bet. It's just a brutal spot for a fully motivated Wisconsin team that I expect to play much better defense this time around. 130.5 game total, not going to be any sort of, priority game by any means.
Hey, Kurt, any DFS looks here? We've seen Jeremiah Williams has entered the fray for Rutgers, played 30 minutes in that first game, fouled last game, so he only played 20. He's also right around that 5K spot. I think he's all right. I know Chris Clow played him during the week here. Any thoughts there? And then I think this is the cheapest we've seen Steve Crow all season on the Wisconsin side.
So I know this is going to bite me, but like I've been mentioning, I fall in this range as my last piece. I will, in my 150, have either or Simpson or Williams in like the 10% where I don't play the LSU news if it breaks right for us. So I do have interest in Simpson or Williams, kind of like Williams more, see what he can do playing another 30 minutes. Because, I mean, his first game back played 30 minutes. Now he's kind of got to shake the rust off a little bit. Let's see what he looks like 30 minutes after a couple games under his belt. Curious. It's a terrible game, not a main team play. Well, I don't know. If the main team falls there, like exactly on 55, maybe take it as a sign, but I'm not forcing him into my lineup or anything, and just get exposure to one of those dudes. And I like Williams a lot more, but just for MME.
Yeah,
I'm not playing
any thoughts on Corral here? His minutes have been down lately, but 3 straight foul games. It's just kind of weird seeing him priced at 6'3" was all a little bit of price sticker shock for me.
Yeah, it's I think the game environment has something to play with that. But yeah, Corral just hasn't been great. He's going into the teeth of the Rutgers defense in that front line with Hyatt, Mag, and Cliff, which isn't great. So yeah, I think Corral and Cliff are only at best like GPP mix-ins. I can't imagine either one will be anywhere over like a 20%. So playing 20, you're probably over the field if you really want to go there. I actually think Jeremiah Williams is more than fine for 5'5". Like,
yes,
it wasn't just that he had foul trouble, dude. Like, he fouled first before the media timeout, then he fouled again with 9 minutes left in the first half. Then he literally fouled the first possession of the second half. So, he picked up the 3, sat a while. I think those minutes are misleading. He's going to have good usage. He's going to put up the peripherals, even if, the shots aren't falling. I think he's completely fine at 5'5". I don't have a problem with him at all.
Yeah, that's weird that he fouled the first possession of the second half because I didn't play him. Usually that happens when we've got a guy on the main lineup, picks up that immediate third. All right, that's too much time on that game. Let's keep it moving. I know you like this one a bit, Gav. Clemson at Syracuse. I'm seeing Clemson -3.5, 152.5 tote. The big news here, Jack Clark entered the starting 5 for Clemson last game. We like Jack Clark in the long term. Good to see him back. We've also been rug pulled by Jack Clark before. Game thoughts here.
Yeah, Clemson off the big UNC win on the road. Now their second straight roadie in a clear letdown spot, laying points, which I would usually tend to back away from. But, God, Syracuse also has 0 KenPom top 50 wins. Their best win all year was against Oregon without N'Faly Dante and Nate Biddle. So they're just off a fight to the death with Louisville, where Louisville lost because I've never seen a team just not get back on defense the final possession of the game. Like, it was the most mind-blowing thing ever. And Syracuse just ran down, scored a layup, won by 2. But yeah, like some stats I think you need to worry about. Like Syracuse since January 3rd, which is basically when Naheem McLeod went out, they're 340th in offensive rebounding percentage, 296th allowing offensive rebounds, and 319th in 2-point defensive percentage. So they're just getting bludgeoned inside, which is going to bring him, into play. God forbid I say, but PJ Hall for some tournaments. Cuse is also 298th in post-up defensive points per possession, and Clemson is the 7th highest post-up rate in the country. So those bigs definitely should be able to have their way with Syracuse underneath.
Yeah, agreed here. Kurt, what are you doing with Jack Clark? And then what else do you like DFS-wise in this game? We saw Justin Taylor start last game, but I know we were high on Copeland. Copeland ended up playing. Let's see what we got here. Copeland played 29 minutes. Justin Taylor did play 24, so he played more than I thought he was going to. What do you got here?
Yeah, I played both, and Taylor's just so bad. I was happy with the minutes, though. That was not a great value slate, so I have no shame. Kind of knew what. Yeah, he's very bad. I like this game. I think there's going to be obviously some landmines because of who the teams are, but I think Shiflin's price is down there pretty low now. Like PJ foul trouble happened. Shiflin can go for 40. I hate to say that, the goofy fuck, but he really can. Obviously, Jack Clark. I was playing him when everyone was hopping off at NC State last year. So obviously I'm a big believer in him, and I will let him kill me at 4-2 all the time. He's just a good real life player. And at 4-2, when you're a good real life player, you can find your way into stats like often, but good defender. He's long, can get boards. Doesn't shoot that well, but if you get some buckets, that's just a bonus for Q's. I mean, Mintz shouldn't be a bad play, 8,400, but I can't get their name in my hand build teams. Probably have a slight maybe in MME. I'm not playing the freaking Malik Brown and Bell game. I like Copeland the best. I'm going right back. Starling, you can make an argument for, but I just like Copeland more. So give me that, and Justin Taylor can eat shit.
Yeah, Gav, is Clark a lock play for you here? And then thoughts on the Syracuse guys? Are you going back to Copeland with the minor price bump, or anyone else here? I know that you're high on Malik Brown last game. He gave us an 11 stock game. Took 4 shots and put up a 50 burger. Unbelievable. What do you got here?
Yeah, I had to share him in the queue, and of course, I think that lineup was the Doug McDaniel lineup, if I'm not mistaken. But if Jack Clark starts, yeah, he's probably a free square, especially with Oduro. Now it sounds like traveling to Indy, so the Rafael Castro spot won't open up. So if Clark starts, I'm locking him. God, yeah, Copeland, 6'1" for a guy that doesn't start. He might even have more minute upside. Like, what if, Chris Bell isn't just blistering hot from 3, doesn't go 8 for 10 from the 3-point line, and concede more minutes. But it's just weird paying for over $6K for a guy who doesn't start. We haven't said the Joe Girard revenge game.
Yeah.
Dare I say it? After he just torched UNC. Typical tournament play guy, like he could give you 11, he could give you 35. So it's kind of a brutal matchup for Mintz and Starling. Clemson's going to underscreen a lot, which is going to make it tougher on Mintz and Starling getting to the hole, which is going to put pressure on their 3-point shooting. Maybe those guys and their 3-point props, they're usually over a half a 3 for those guys with a little bit of juice. So that might be something to look for. I took under 152.5 because I just think both these teams, generally speaking, can guard what the other's trying to do well. And yeah, so I think that's probably about all I got on this game. I guess Chase Hunter, if you fall on that, at 5'7", he's going to be in a range where there's going to be ownership on other guys. So he could be, semi-leverage play, but it's not something that I'm really aiming to get. I'm more if I fall onto him.
Yeah, if you want to ride that under with Gav, I'm still seeing the 152.5 out there. I like the under 2. Just like the pricing, I think it's viable to take a couple pieces here. You're playing Jack Clark. I think you could play a Copeland, a Malik Brown, a Girard, a Hunter, something like that, just because of where they're priced. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Gav. I felt like we kind of got away with one with that Copeland play last time. He didn't shoot that much. We kind of got there on peripherals.
I don't think he got a rebound until the final possession of the game. Like the last missed shot of the game, he grabbed his only rebound, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he's a decent play. I'm not falling over myself to play him like I was during the
How
week.
much was that? I mean, Bell was having like a game of his life. I mean, that took you have to think that took away at least 5 or 6 shots from Copeland. Like,
I'm definitely not playing Bell. Like they're the same price.
No. But I'm just saying, I think.
Are you there too, Gav? You would definitely play Copeland over Bell.
Yeah, he's safer than Bell. I don't know if you have to play him over Bell because, like, if Chris Bell is going to take 8 to 10 threes a game, if he's going to have hot shooting games, then he's going to be in play, like, to try and win GPPs.
Yeah, I think Copeland's a really good play, just not a must play like he was during the week. All right, let's keep moving here. Really good real life game coming up next. Kraton at Xavier. Gav, I'm seeing Kraton -1.5, 154.5 total. Pretty hefty total here with Xavier going to pace him up. What do you got? Game thoughts here?
Yeah, Kraton off the 2 straight losses. I mean, God, they gave up 99 at home to Butler, and then the at Providence game. Nobody just wins at the dunk. Lost in OT. They've had their worst and their third worst defensive performances of the year in 2 of the 3 last games, along with that UNLV crushing. So yeah, where's this team at mentally? I kind of wonder. They're only a game back a second, but 7-5, like it's kind of an interesting spot here for Kraton. I did bet him against Providence. Got my hand caught in the cookie jar. I don't think I'm going to do it here. I think that they're pretty clearly better than Xavier. But Xavier's got some spots to exploit. Des Claude took 18 of their 50 total shots from the field last game. He could easily see kind of the same soft matchup of like the Farabello, Mason Miller at the 3. And so I took Des Claude over, I think it was 16.5 points. I think this is a really good spot for him. But yeah, overall, great total. So definitely going to probably have to look at some DFS pieces here.
Yeah, Kurt, we've seen Claude's price come back down. He was up at 8K, I think, last slate. Olivari obviously has boom games. I don't know if this is the spot for him. And then Kraton's kind of been the same thing for us all season for DFS, right? Like you've got the 3 studs. They can each go off on any slate, but they're all pretty expensive here. What do you got DFS-wise?
And then Ashworth, like, starting to shoot kind of what they expected him to shoot when he came here. Like, he was 40-plus, I think, at Utah State. And so now he's starting to get up there. So now it's actually starting to limit the ceiling a little bit, in my opinion, of the other guys. Probably not Kalkbrenner, but I mean, Shireman early in the year was just like putting up 40s and 50s, it felt like all the time when he's on the slate and I played him. But now it's like with Ashworth playing better, it's really limiting it. And like, I have $100 I'm going to find, just play Devin Carter. And I mean, yeah, like you said in the playbook, all of them can go off at any time, but I'm just not finding myself falling there, which is crazy because they're playing Xavier. And MME, I'll probably have a sprinkle. But on the Xavier side, it's Claude for me, just for everything that Gavin said. I think it's softest matchup. I think he gets up a lot of shots here. I'm not playing that much for Olivari. McKnight can be a pivot if you want to get some more action from this game. Usmani, I have him in some Donovan Klinigan lineup. I can't ever say his last name, dog. I have them 2 together, just about terrible floor, all ceiling lineup. Is a fun little hand build I did because we know that they both have. I
actually did that, Kurt. I did that on, I think it was Thursday. I played Braxton Mia and Sean Phillips in the same lineup.
Boom. Yeah. Oh, man, what a hero.
And they actually both avoided fouls for the most part. Gav, Kurt touched on what I think is the best play in this game. Abu Usman played 31 minutes last game. He is a mega fouler. In the 2 games prior, he had 11 fouls because he fouled out in that one game and then got teed up when he fouled out. We know that the foul risk is there, but man, at 5'3", you don't really see guys with this type of upside at 5'3". What are your thoughts there? And then obviously some elite studs on this or in this game. Are you prioritizing them on this slate?
Yeah, Usman first, like at 5'3" in this game environment, if he doesn't foul, he's going to make value 75% of the time minimum, right? Now, if he doesn't foul, I don't really like not playing someone just because of foul risk. I think that's a bad way to play, like just generally speaking. So I'm going to play a lot of Usman, and if he fouls, he fouls. You can't lock him or be like 70-80% on him just because of that. But you can
I think the foul risk is baked into his price,
Probably, yeah. The other thing I forgot to mention, Kraton is one of the lowest free throw rate teams in the country. It's not like they're just attacking the rim a bunch. It's a jump shot heavy team. Yeah. Kalkbrenner, isn't a lot of times just backing down in the post and drawing fouls on opponents. So I think, at home, this is about as good of a spot as it's going to be for him not to foul. So I think he's a great play. Definitely the first place to look. Yeah, with the studs, I mean, Baylor's been such a wagon, but these guys I think are just too close to Devin Carter for me. So yeah, it's probably going to start with Usman. This is the spot that Dallin Swain got his first start in last time. So keep that in mind. If you see him in the starting lineup, that could be of interest somewhat. I don't know if there's a ton more in this game to really worry about for your player pool, though.
Yeah, I think the Kraton guys are better plays for like the mini max, stuff like that. You just have in your pool, Kurt. Any last thoughts here, Kurt?
I'm not playing Ashworth. I'll play the other one. I'm actually leaving Ashworth completely out of the pool. I know he's been shooting awesome, but that's just
Yeah, I like the Usman play. I'm trying to decide if I have the balls to play him on main because the upside is huge. He went 1 for 7. He went 1 for 7 and paid off value last game.
My switch this year has been exactly what Gavin said. When the price is right, not saying, well, what if this guy's fouls? If he fouls, I'll close the laptop. I've been playing that way this year, and it's helped my upside. I'll say that. So I like that. If he fouls, go outside, shoot basketball or something. Who gives a shit? It's like that's what I did last week when Quentin got in every foul shot. I just went outside and played basketball. Like, oh well, my slate's over.
Right. All right, let's keep it moving. Vandy at South Carolina. South Carolina, Gav, has been a huge surprise for I think most people up in the top 50 now at KenPom. They're 20-3. They've won 6 in a row, 8-2 in conference play. I am seeing 11. They're laying 11.5 here at home. 129.5 total though. They're playing mega slow. 354th. That's like almost Virginia level. What do you got here?
Yeah, Vandy's off the drubbing from UK. Dude, they were laying 9.5 at Vandy. I saw 3 possessions of the game. I said Kentucky's going to score 100. They're just going to absolutely shit on these. And they won by 30.
Yeah.
Vandy did get the win against Missouri in terms of the battle of the fully beatens in the SEC. So I think they do have a win at this point. But South Carolina, off the ATS melt against Ole Miss, where they led 43-31 at halftime before scoring 24 points the entire second half. Kind of an interesting spot also. South Carolina goes to Auburn on Wednesday. That could potentially be a battle for first place in the SEC, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, game's going to be slow as shit. 322nd and 349th average possession length. South Carolina's fine with defending Vandy's off-ball stuff. Vandy's going to give up a ton of open threes at the 257th rate. So, a couple boosts to the scar shooters. Not going to be something that I'm prioritizing by any means, but I think there's, a spot or two that you might be able to pick off on a one-off scenario.
Yeah, Kurt, I'm probably full avoiding Vandy here. What are your thoughts there? And then any South Carolina guys you like? We've seen Michi Johnson. His price just keeps ticking down. He's down to 6'3" now. We've seen Miles Studi come back and play, low 20s minutes. He's at 4.2. I think he's interesting. Mainly just a shooter. He's just going to shoot threes. He's taken 12 shots in the last 3 games, and 11 of them have been threes. What do you got here DFS-wise?
Yeah, so Vandy almost dead last an opponent to 3 points or 3-pointers. So I'm going to have some Michi, probably my favorite of them all. But I don't play BJ Mack, but he chucks threes. One of these guys is going to get hot. Stute is a 3-point shooter. Maybe he gets to start here. I like a lot of South Carolina guys. I don't know if I want to play more than one, but I might have a rule of one South Carolina guy in every line because I feel like one's going to go off and just hope it hits the right combination. Murray Boyle's been off.
That's right, Kurt. It's a 129 total, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But look at the prices, bro. What
you
are you
need
paying?
One of these guys though. If you have that rule, you're gonna be way over the field on Talon Cooper at 7K.
I don't want Cooper actually. He's the only one I don't want.
Yeah,
because he's 6'7".
I would not have one in every lineup. I think they're reasonable plays though.
Well, wait, I should clarify. When I say stuff like that, I'm not really saying you guys should do it. So let me be clear. I'm glad Steve stopped me there. So I I know there's probably a lot of people in here that are 150ing. That's not should be your approach. If I say it should be everyone's approach, I will, but I'll try to clarify moving forward. This is probably what I'll be doing and try to get most. But like for everything they said, you guys probably shouldn't. So I'm glad you clarified that.
We have a guy in the chat asking about your boy Evan Taylor, back-to-back really good games, 12 and 14 shots in the last 2. I don't think this is a great spot for him, though.
I X Vandy. Yeah, I X Vandy, actually.
Yeah.
Mansion was good. They've been good to me, too, but South Carolina's for real on defense, bro.
Any thoughts there? And then any Michi Love, Miles Studi in a game against a team that is – what did you say they are against the 3? Is it them?
Last?
That's dead last. Yeah, they're 352nd in 3-point percentage defense.
One of these guys are going off, bro. I'm sorry. They're hitting 4X.
What do you think,
Yeah, I think this is when I get off Manning and Taylor. You play Kentucky, you play Missouri. Both were at home. Now you're on the road at South Carolina. That's probably the time to get off. The Studi, like if you want to be overweight on a South Carolina guy, I'll say Miles Studi in GPPs because he could easily hit, basically every 3-pointer he hits, he's going up 1x value. So he could get multiple shots here. He was fighting, coming off an injury kind of the last few games. So could be getting healthier. I think this is a decent Miles Studi spot, but writ large as a whole, I'm not really trying to target this game much at all.
Revenge game. Do the revenge lineup with Joe Girard and Studi.
I think we could see Studi like slide into the starting 5 one of these games, Gav. Like he's been back for 3 or 4 games now. They've had off since Tuesday. I think we could see him in the next couple games slide.
I wouldn't be surprised. It could be.
Gosh dang, he's going in the core. He's going in the core.
I think he becomes. Yeah, not core, but definitely mainline viable if he's starting in that spot.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of 4K plays outside of Jack Clark, which I think makes him a better
start him. You have to start him in the revenge game, right? Like he's already been working there. Like, bro, it's a revenge game. Let him start. Let the kid start.
It's a good spot for him to make his first start back.
Yeah,
I will say that. All right, let's move on. We got Providence at Butler. Providence, man, that Kraton game.
Illinois, Michigan State.
No, that's coming up. I must have just put them out of order. No, all these games are at the same time. Providence at Butler is what I have next here. I've got Butler minus 4.5. I took the Butler minus 3.5 last night. 146.5 total. The big news here, we got some rumors about Josh Oduro. His girlfriend's pregnant. He did make the trip, though. That was reported this morning. So we have him projected in right now. If he misses, Rafael Castro is a stone lock at 3-3, but expect him to play here. Gav, let's talk about this as if Oduro's in. What do we got here?
Yeah, Providence off the just all-in home effort in OT against Kraton. Devin Carter with the 35-footer, when they had lost 2 straight. Providence has also gone to Philly, to Providence, now to Indiana within a 6-day span, and they're already low on depth. Not a team that's running a ton of bench minutes and guys off the bench. So Butler's off, the competitive ATS cover at Yukon. Like I said before, scored 99 in Omaha. Had a 2 OT home game prior to that versus Villanova. And they also got Marquette and Kraton after this. Like this is a tough get up for Butler at the same time. It would be the 4th straight or 3rd straight big get up spot with 2 big games afterwards. So yeah, I generally reside kind of on the Butler side. It doesn't make things better that Oduro is going to play. I would have rather him not, but yeah, Butler top 75 in post up rate. Versus Oduro's top 10 in post-up defense. There's going to be a lot of things that these teams run into each other that they defend the other well schematically. So still a decent total. And obviously when you have Devin Carter, just arguably the best DFS asset in the sport, not named Zach Edey, you can consider spots in this game for sure.
How about that Josh Oduro call on Wednesday in the core? 56.5. He took 24 goddamn shots, Kurt.
He gave Kalkbrenner the business, man. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So I didn't watch that game live. I was out and about, but I watched it afterwards. And man, he has been so good since the Hopkins injury, Kurt. Let's assume Oduro's in here. Carter, Oduro, are you playing one of those guys? Are there any priority plays for you in this game? What do you like?
It's just for a decent total. I should like more, but it's just Carter for me. I know I wasn't talking anyone off. Aduro. I can't say his name either. Fuck me. But I can't play the game with the Providence Sheepies. Obviously, no one should be. And then Posh, I am so excited to watch those two go at it. I don't need my popcorn until 5, but I might bump the popcorn time up till about 2 so I can watch Devin Carter and Posh Alexander absolutely go at it. It's going to be absolutely beautiful basketball. I hope the refs let them play. I don't want to see either of them in foul trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe we give them a call back. Hey, like we want to see some good basketball. Kind of let a little bit of meh go on the perimeter. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So I like both those guys the most. Probably not getting anyone else in this game, actually, which is weird.
Yeah, we saw Posh miss that. Was it the Kraton game, I think, for Butler, the road win, and then bounced right back, played 32 minutes. We haven't seen him under 7K in a while. I think that price jumps out a bit to me. Do you like him here? And then thoughts on a Carter and a Duru, anything else in this game?
Yeah, I think Posh is for sure in play. I think it was an ankle where he was in a boot for a little bit. And the fact that he came back and he immediately played 33 tells me that ankle's feeling pretty good. So yeah, in a home spot with decent pace, not the best matchup given that Providence is pretty stingy defensively, but yeah, Posh is still definitely in play. I think he's just a significantly better player than a Davis or a Telfort in this spot. Yeah, Carter. Holy shit. I mean, what a piss missile this guy's been. Him and Oduro are just always going to be in play. Carter was 24% in the queue and put up a fucking 60 ball. I mean, like, what are, Oduro was like 14% and put up a 50. I mean, when you just have this kind of just like undoubted usage rate with these guys where any given game they're going to take 20 plus shots just because of the lack of heads, on their team, then yeah, they're going to be in play. I think this is going to be another spot where they're not going to be super highly owned again, even with, the recent box scores. So two guys that, yeah, I would definitely still like to be overweight on, if possible, obviously. But we've been trying to make this goddamn fifth Providence guy a thing all year, behind Carter, Oduro, Ticket Gaines, and Jaden Pierre. And then it's just been the Garway, Dual, Corey Floyd roulette. We've been trying to make it a thing for a month now. Corey Floyd dies on us when we first try to use him. Then we stop using him. Then he kind of kicks ass a couple games. So, yeah, I mean, if he's going to play 30 minutes, sure, I'll play him at 4-3 in this spot.
God, I don't know if I can do it. We've been burned by him.
Play Studi.
We were on him early. He sucked. And then he had a couple good games. We were off. And then we hopped back on. And he played like 18 minutes. And now he just played fucking 37 minutes.
We should start doing something called like rug pull threat level. The rug pull threat level here is like 7 to 8, I think.
Yeah. I do like Kurt. I do like playing Studi over him here. Like Studi could hit 5 threes in that game, and it just, you're just rolling. Any last thoughts here, Kurt? This is a game to get some pieces of, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't talk about any of the other Butler guys. Do you like any non-Posh Butler?
I want to. I hate Telfort. He might be my most hated player in college basketball history. I hate that guy so much. He literally is he's so bad. As to how they haven't pulled a scholarship, I don't know. He's the most inefficient player I've ever seen. We've been talking about in the chat, these Butler games, they go to triple overtime every day. They don't play any D. It seems like the pace seems like they're playing freaking Bama pace. But I don't know who else to get to. Like, I'm not playing Telfort. I'm not playing Brooks, Davis. I can't do it. Andre Screen's starting to play a little like consistent minutes.
Kurt, you know what's great about Telfort? So you played him in that DePaul game,
which
is like the next spot, right? He goes 1 of 8. Since then, he's gone 6 of 10.
I've seen
12 of 17.
It's just not real. That's not real. That's just not real.
Shot against DePaul, Gav. How funny is that?
Real.
All right, let's
after Quincy Albury gave DePaul 70.
Right, just absolutely dropped the ball bag on him. We got a bunch of games left, so go ahead.
Screen's starting to play some more. Thomas gets in foul trouble. Worth having in the pool, maybe 4,100, 20 minutes last game, 11-24. Thomas foul trouble narrative.
I think Screen's a better play for like the mini max.
Yeah. I would have rather Oduro be out for those guys, but I guess if you want.
Yeah. All right, let's go to this next game here. We can make this one quick. TCU at Iowa State. Iowa State laying 8 now. Gav, I know we talked about taking TCU +7 yesterday. I might grab that +8. TCU lost to Iowa State at home earlier in a conference play. They turned it over, 25, 28 times, something like that at home, lost by 1. I'm seeing them 143 total here. What do you got?
Yeah, TCU off the 11-point loss at Texas, but they got out to a 16-6 lead. That game was tied with 2 minutes left. And then Asmus hit just an unreal step back 34-footer at the buzzer, and they hit like 2 more right after that. And they kind of, spread out the result. But TCU's had a full week off for the spot. ISU won at Texas on Tuesday. And like we said, this is, perfect stylistically for Iowa State. They limit transition and they keep you away from the rim, which are like 2 of the core tenets of TCU's philosophy. So, in the first game, TCU shot 60% from the field on 28 attempts, which is just like crazy high against Iowa State. Shot quality had them as 9 points lower. They also did that against Iowa State without Lipsey. So Lipsey's going to be back in this spot.
Yeah.
It was the only time all year that TCU was above a 25% turnover rate, and they turned it over 38% of their possessions. So there's a little bit of push and pull on the shot making they sustained in the first game versus I don't expect them to turn it over on nearly 4 out of 10 possessions. So yeah, still pretty good spot for Iowa State. I generally agree though. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm leaning taking the +8. I'll let the crew know in Discord if I end up jumping on that. Kurt, for DFS, I don't think there's much here outside of Tame and Lipsey. What do you got?
Yeah, so I X'd out TCU. I'm going to Lipsey's going to be the highest owned in this game, and then sprinkle of Gilbert and the freshman big for ISU, Milan Mamashvili. I should be better at these names, bro, because I play EuroLeague. But just for the name's sake, I will have a sprinkle with a freshman. I haven't got to watch him yet. So
he's a good shooter.
Yeah, I'm sold. I'm not going to go crazy, but I'll probably have 10% Gilbert and 10% him, and then probably like a lot more Lipsey.
Yeah, he's shooting 40.4% from 3 on the year. I think Lipsey's the only play I would have here, Gav. Any thoughts, or should we keep it moving?
I mean, do we have to keep talking about Micah Peavy? He's had 10 straight shots in 4 games. I just don't play people against Iowa State, much less at Hilton.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. BC at Duke. Duke land 12.5 here, 148 total. How's the spot for them here, Gav? They had the loss at UNC. They bounced back, throttled Notre Dame in a pretty comfy ho-hum game at home during the week. What do you think here?
Yeah, Duke handled Notre Dame at Cameron by 18. They also have a weird quick turnaround against, in-state Wake. They're in-state, right? They're both North Carolina, I think, on Monday.
Yep.
So that's definitely got some potential look-ahead concern to it. BC's off the close home loss to Florida State. They're doing their usual 4-7, sputtering in the conference, ugly offense, physical-ish defense. Duke has the top ACC offense. They have an 80-plus team total. BC's given up 78 at Clemson, 75 versus Q's, 76 versus UNC. So I feel like Duke is pretty safe here to get to 75-plus. It's not. I don't think this is going to be a situation where Duke scores, 64 points and wins 64-58. The BC defense just hasn't been as good as it has in years past, and the Duke offense is really good, with fully healthy and everyone back. So, yeah, I think definitely got to look at some spots here for Duke.
Kurt, I think this just screams a Quentin Post foul spot. He's been fouling a lot on the road. Him going to Cameron, oh man, I can just see him fouling out in like 22 minutes here. Thoughts on that? And then, this price on Filipowski, we have not seen him priced this low probably since the beginning of his freshman season. What do you think here?
Going to have a lot of Filipowski, obviously. No, I usually don't play him much, but under 8K in a matchup where I think Post gets in foul trouble, and then Prince, is he going to play or not? Do you have a lean on that?
We have him projected in now, but we don't know. This is one of the only 3 news spots. He's active?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sweet. Jeremy Roach are getting a guy under 6K with a 20% shot rate last 3, 20% assist rate. I mean, I'm not going to not play that a little bit.
Jeremy Roach had 5 points before the first media timeout. In last game, he ended with 7 points.
Boom.
Yeah, we had his points under, didn't we?
15.5, yeah.
I mean, so eventually, like, you're going to have that swing the other way. Like, he's going to start making some shots. You hope to God. Under 6K, I'm willing to keep finding out. I don't mind playing them together, but I feel like I should have one or the other personally. And BC, I don't know. I'm not playing post. If he does get in foul trouble, like, someone else is going to benefit. I'm not really sure who. It might not even matter. So probably just those two. And maybe you guys have a BC guy who could benefit for like 150 stuff. Because I don't know. I'm not playing one of them. I'm not playing any of them now.
Yeah, Gav, thoughts on the spot here for Post? I'm probably not getting to him here on the road at Cameron. And then I believe Gavin's text last night said, I would play 7.9K Filipowski against the Celtics. What do you think?
Yeah. He's 7.9K at home playing him. I don't care. I think I said the same thing a couple weeks ago with Joel Soriano right before he gave me just the most uncomfortable reach around ever. And then just shit on a team like 2 games later after that. But I'm playing 7.9 Filipowski without a question. If you are dead from early games, I would say that maybe that's a spot that you could get away from in terms of the Filipowski, just because like there's a lot of mouths in that offense to feed. And kind of for a similar reason why I'm a little bit tepid on Jeremy Roach. Like, you basically have 4 guards that can take, shots in that backcourt at any time. Plus Mark Mitchell is crowded, man. And I don't know how many possessions you're going to get in this spot. So like if you're dead early, getting off of Filipowski to play like a Mark Mitchell maybe, or maybe you go like to an Asmus in the same slot or in the same time slot, or a Dessou or something like that. That's one way to play it. You can play Chaz Kelly, 4.4. Don't love a road, somewhat 3-point reliant shooter in Cameron, but 4.4 in play. Duke struggled with physicality, and Devin McLaughlin's going to give that to him and some. And it's not a great spot for post. It could be for McLaughlin underneath. If you really want to play post, play 10% of them and be more than double, if not triple the field, because he's going to be pretty unknown in the spot.
Yeah. So Filipowski's got 5 straight games of 4 more fouls. I don't view him as a long-term fouler. I think he's under 4 fouls per 40 this season. And I think he was about the same last year. Yeah, he was 3.6 last year. So I think he's just kind of going through like a weird spot in their season where he's, fouled early some games. He went 1 for 6 from 3 against Carolina. 4 straight games under 30 DK. I'm hoping that people see that and don't automatically click him, because I think he's pretty much a stone lock, at least for like a main lineup. Any last thoughts here, Kurt?
Yeah, it's just got to play. I mean, him and Clark, if they kill us, they kill us, but I'm just taking it and moving on.
Yeah. All right. We're finally to your Illinois game here, Gav. I may have had him out of order, but here we go. We got Illinois going to Sparty. Sparty -3, 146 tote. Illinois is fully healthy now. Sparty, the up and down season. They rate well on KenPom, but they're 14-9, 6-6 in conference. What do you got here?
Yeah, Sparty's off that relatively predictable loss, I think, at the barn against Minnie. They're in the spot now where, dude, like they're at risk of missing the tournament at this point. This is about as all in a spot as you can get for Michigan State. The last time they had this spot, if you remember, early in the season, they had lost I think they were 5-4 or something like that, and then got Baylor in, I think, the Pistons arena and just beat the shit out of them, in a similar type of all in spot. Illinois is definitely better than Baylor and pretty polar opposite schematically. Like Illinois' 1 through 5 switch and kind of the versatility of their lineup is going to cause Michigan State problems. This is the game, if you remember, where, well, first of all, it was a 3-point game, 71-68 in Champaign. And so that was a pretty close affair. But this is the game where Izzo saw Matt Painter put Edey on Ty Rodgers and have great success. And he put Sissoko on Ty Rodgers. Well, the problem is that Sissoko is not Edey. And so Ty Rodgers just shit on Matty Sissoko for the first 6 minutes until he had to pull him off the floor. I don't think that's going to happen again, so I don't foresee a Ty Rodgers game. But yeah, Sparty is basically like, they have this game and the game at Mackey are their only quad 1 opportunities the rest of the season. So they got to get this, which is kind of what's kept me off of the Illinois side.
Yeah, I think Illinois is pretty clearly in a different tier of team than Sparty, but the spot has me not betting them as well. Kurt for DFS, I think there's a couple looks here. Terry Shannon is right around 7K. That's cheap for him. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. The bigs for Michigan State are the cheapest they've been all season, specifically the starter, Sissoko. He's at 3.8 here. Are you playing any Matty Sissoko?
Like we texted earlier, I kind of wish that Sissoko and Cooper just had the shits or something, and they just have to play Booker more minutes. I don't care how inefficient. I think he did have the best plus minus out of all of them a couple games ago or something, and it was like 1 minute of action. So I don't really know how much you can throw into that. But there's like 3 of them that rotate him. It's super annoying. Personally, probably don't have the balls myself unless I need a late pivot or some shit like that. For Illinois, it's not a good matchup for Terry Shannon, but man, I'm probably going to be over the field on him. I don't care. I'm a big believer in the criminal. Michigan State side, I don't play these guys. I'm gonna be honest. I never play them. I hate Michigan State as a whole. I've hated them ever since freaking the Tillman days. So yeah, know that Terry Shannon over the phone. Terry Shannon's my only really take from this game. I'm sorry.
I know you hate Ty Rodgers. You're always tilting him.
Oh, don't get me fucking started on Ty Rodgers nuking 3 freaking slates. I mean, it is absurd. Overpriced Ty Rodgers. It's got to stop. Shout out to our guy Scott for being an Illinois homer and chipping with him. But holy shit, I am so sick of Ty freaking Rodgers, bro. If he goes off again today, that's my 13th reason. I'm gone. I'm done.
Gav, I think we have a couple looks here. Tyson Walker's projecting well, low 7K. Like him and Terry, I think, are both good plays. And then what are your thoughts on Sissoko? This is the cheapest he's been all season.
Yeah, I'm playing Terry Shannon. I'll even provide you guys some free legal advice to RPS. I won't even charge for this, but we're going to say alleged criminal, Kurt, just so we don't get hit with any sort of defamatory litigation. That's on the house right there. That consulting, but
might have saved it today.
Yeah, it's like I said, Ty Rodgers. I don't think this is going to be the spot that he found the first time when he had Sissoko guarding him. I don't think I'd play Sissoko if you gave me $3,800 back for playing him. Just personally, like, is he going to get there? Maybe. He's at home. You can the one area where you can beat Illinois is they really lack like a true big, so you can beat him underneath. But I don't know if that's the type of guy that Sissoko is, where he's just going to handle him. Yeah, so I think you're starting with Terry and Tyson. Tyson's just clearly not 100%, but any given game can score 30 real points. Did have a tough go at it. The first game, 8 of 17 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3 against Illinois' length. So for me, it's starting with Shannon. Quincy Guerrier is getting pretty interesting, 6K. Man, he's been pretty consistent. The minutes just haven't been there the last couple games that you would want, but I think he's in a poise for a bounce back. That's another spot I'd look. I don't know. I just can't play these Sparty bigs, I think, personally.
Do you think Terry's main lineup viable here?
Yeah, he didn't play in the first game. Michigan State is very beatable off the dribble and is very weak at the rim. They allow transition, which just all kind of sets up for Terry Shannon. 7.1 is probably $1,000 under price.
I wish he was giving us more peripherally. He hasn't really done much outside of score since he came back, but yeah, the price is enticing there. All right, we got to move this on.
Ty Rodgers is stealing it all.
We're not playing Ty Rodgers, Kurt.
No, hey! I'm not playing fucking Ty Rodgers.
All right, West Virginia at Texas here. I'm seeing Texas laying 13, 144.5 total.
Is it back to 13?
I saw 13. So I put in these numbers about 5 minutes before the show.
Wow,
I might take that 13.
Yeah, I'm taking the 13.
Yeah. So game thoughts here. Texas off the home loss to Iowa State.
Yeah, West Virginia's off a 13-point home loss against BYU. I mean, they just got bludgeoned by Futrori inside. They also shot 28% from the field versus BYU's 36% from 3 on 36 attempts. I just don't think West Virginia is going to have kind of the offensive firepower needed to keep up with that kind of pacing. This is also the first game of the year. It's February 10th. It's the first game of the year that West Virginia has been fully healthy. The game that Jesse Edwards broke his wrist was the last game that Ray Battle didn't play. So this is about as good of a spot as you're going to find West Virginia. And yeah, it's on the road. Texas doesn't really, worry you too much. They've kind of sleptwalk in these double-digit home favorite spots. How about Louisville when Aces had to hit a game winner? They've had some rough goes at it. But both teams, they run pick and roll at a pretty high rate, and both defenses are outside the top 275. So guys like A. Smith, guys like Battle, Kerr, all these guys are going to get a little bit of a bump. I kind of see a good amount of offense being had here. So, Texas, they trailed 36-19 at half against Iowa State. And then, outscored them by 12 in the second half to only lose by 5. So that, was kind of a faulty final score. But, main worry here is that just both teams top 75 in mid-range frequency. So there's going to have to be some shot making that occurs to get to any sort of over. But yeah, I'll be taking West Virginia 13 when we get off the show.
Yeah, Gav, I see a 13 on DK and on Bet Online.
All right.
All right, Kurt, DFS wise, I think there's a couple plays here. We love Jesse Edwards here at Run Pure. I love Jesse. I played him in that first game back. He fouled last game. I think people might be light on Jesse Edwards here. I love him under 8K.
He's the Filipowski pivot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a dead one early.
Yeah. I might play both, but yes, I think that he's a great pivot here. Thoughts on him and then anything else in this game? We've seen our old friend Brock Cunningham re-enter the fold for Texas. They're just trying to find that fifth piece, right? It was If Horton for a while. Chendell Weaver fouled last game. He'll probably start again. But Brock Cunningham, 24 and 29 minutes the last 2 games. What do you got here?
So for West Virginia, I like the Edwards call. Literally gives you nothing peripherally, but Texas gives it up behind the perimeter. The guy leading the team in shots. I'm going to play me. So that's literally my type of play. That's the ultimate Kurt play. Chuck probably kills you if he doesn't kill you, if he's actually making shots. I think it's a good chance for him to do that. So I will have some Battle. I don't know if I recommend it. I'm playing a little reckless. And then on Texas, I think it is Weaver if he avoids the fouls. Based off what he came out in that second half and literally the first 8 possessions, I'm pretty sure he had 4 offensive rebounds and putbacks attempts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
He's
just
good.
Yeah, I think he is going to be the guy. So even though I should probably be hopping off a little bit with the price increase, I won't be. I kind of believe in his peripheral and he can score a little bit. I believe in him. So I will have some Weaver too. Battle, Edwards. I can't get up to Dessou. Hunter's also cheap, so I like the idea of Hunter or Weaver. I feel like one of them probably gets 5x here, maybe.
Yeah, it's tough for me to play Weaver with Tyrese Hunter the same price, Gav. Thoughts there, and then thoughts on Jesse here.
Yeah, I think Tyrese Hunter is kind of in that first tier of mid 5K plays. If you want to talk about Jeremiah Williams is in that bucket. Will Baker is kind of in that bucket a little bit, but I think he's that. Yeah, $100 apart in those two. I'm just going to play Tyrese every time. This is a really good Max A. Smith spot, man. Holy shit. He could easily 35, 20 real points in this spot. He's been pretty good in the peripherals. He's not fouling because in order to foul, you have to play defense, and he doesn't do that. So he stays out of foul trouble. He's playing a super weak West Virginia perimeter defense. I think Asmus is a good play. I think Jesse is a great play. And I'm kind of in on Ray Battle, honestly. That,
oh no!
If you're
around, baby, no.
If you're swapping around late, dude, he could nuke a 6K price. That being said, like I mentioned before, they're also the most healthy they've been. So if the shot share, dries up for him, he's probably in trouble. But 6K can definitely beat that price. If you're just moving around late and you need to fall on someone, I think Ray Battle's fine for that.
I think Battle's more of a swap for me than going into the slate, having him in my lineup type of play. I love Jesse. I think he's going to get overlooked here. We have a higher projection on him than others. And that's my fault. I made it. I made Captain bump him up.
I love that.
I think there's also a component of Jesse playing in the middle of a zone last year. Like, you just rack up so many stats in terms of the boards and the blocks, kind of like how Jordan Minor did at Merrimack, like when he was the defensive player of the year and just put up ungodly numbers floating in the middle of a zone. Now playing more man-to-man. The upside of the peripherals might not be there, but he can still do it any given game.
Yeah, I mean, he fucking destroyed Cincy, put up 48 in his only game that he hasn't fouled since coming back. So I think like we have him for 28, 29 minutes. I think that even might be light. Before the injury, he was playing 37, 38, 32, 36, 31, 34, 34, 33. I think Jesse's the best tournament play on the entire slate. All right, let's close this out. We're going a bit long here, and we got to do our own lineups. We end with a banger, though. Auburn at Florida. Auburn -1.5 is what it was right before the show. 157.5 tote here, Gav. I took Auburn. I know it's just an elite situational spot for Florida, but getting them under a possession, I just really, really like this Auburn team. Florida, I'm sure you're going to say, likes to score at the rim. This is a foul or 7-block game for Broome. What do you got here?
Literally have that note fourth on my list. But, yeah, I mean, Auburn off the Bama game, like I said before, they have that kind of sneaky, game against South Carolina on Wednesday, potentially for first place. Florida's had a week off after the heartbreaking Texas A&M loss where, they lost by 1 even when Wade Taylor had foul trouble. So it's not like Florida's just impervious to any sort of,
but they fucking
effort.
Covered because I know we were on A&M in that game.
Yeah, -1.5, and they won by 1. That was fun. But, yeah, the Auburn defense, when it travels, it's not as good. Drops from like 20th to 122nd in three-point D. Also, three-point offense drops. So Florida has to win at the three-point line. Like, I know it's easy to say, if they don't hit shots, they're going to lose. But if Florida doesn't hit like 33% of their threes, I think you're right. They're dead. So both these teams, top 25 in transition shot frequency, but Auburn defends it at the 11th best efficiency versus Florida's 235th in a points per possession basis. So, yeah, I get it. Numbers lean Auburn. Spot is just all Florida. I don't really like betting against these kind of all-in spots.
Yeah, I've been taking a bit more of these this year, Gav, than usual just because of the tax, right? Like, I think that a couple of years ago, Auburn would be 3.5, 4 here, and we're getting them 1.5. Kurt for DFS, Broome has just been so good. He's not getting the big minutes, but man, he's up there with Edey with fantasy point per minute guy. We haven't seen a 28-minute game here. I think, if this game stays close, he could see 27, 28. What are your thoughts on him? And then anyone else here? Jalen Williams' price is kind of getting away from us a bit. He was awesome in that game during the week. God, he was good. And then, the Florida guys are going to project decently. I don't really like playing guys against Auburn. They're up to 3rd defensively at KenPom. They're number 1 defensively in the country in 2-point percentage defense. Broome is just an eraser at the rim. Do you like anything here?
Yeah, the Florida guys, they have a lot of guys that can kind of do it, and they're all priced pretty accurately, I'd say. If I had to take a stab, I'm probably going to go Kraton, but that's just because the price decreased and like maybe he takes advantage of all Auburn's D on the perimeter, but not much there. And I will say this is probably the first time all year that I'm actually kind of scared to play Broome in a game that's in a close total. It's probably the first time I'm scared. The price, I think Florida has some bodies they can at least throw at him, maybe absorb some fouls, make him get in foul trouble. But if he's out of foul trouble and plays 28, he's breaking the slate. It's like, it's really tough. I don't really know how much I'm going to have yet. Will probably be a decision I make in the next 40 minutes. So,
yeah, Gav, I'm kind of with Kurt. I've been playing Broome more than I usually have in the past. I play them in the games that I think that Auburn's going to get pushed because Pearl will just say, "Fuck it, I'm playing them for 19 minutes if they're up big." What are your thoughts here? Florida does have several guys who draw fouls at a good rate. Pullen does, Samuel does, Condon does. Where are you at here with Broome? I'm kind of nervous to play him too.
Yeah, road Janai Broome against I don't know, maybe the deepest 5 spot in the conference, not other than Kentucky, with Hand-Lockton, Samuel, Condon. All those guys are very serviceable. So, Yeah, it's probably a spot I'm okay being a little bit under the field. What do we think? Like he's going to be owned in this spot? I imagine
Great
room
question.
in the hammer is probably going to be 25 minimum, probably
I think he's
upwards of
going to
like
be
35.
higher in the queue. I think he pushes like almost 40 in the queue.
I'm fine getting away from him in the queue, and definitely in that spot. But yeah, I think it's a tougher spot for Poland and Clayton. Like the way that Auburn sends 2 to the screen and ices ball screens, like it's gonna force it out of their hands. So it might even be like a sneaky, dare I say it, Riley Kugel spot.
Ooh, baby.
He's way more variant than other guys in kind of that 5'3" to 5'8" range. But I think he also has some of the higher ceiling for many of those guys. So yeah, not terrible spots for them. You need pieces because of the total and it's the last game. So yeah, I'm probably going Clayton over Poland just with the price discount, but don't feel great about it.
I think I'm going to fade this game. I think it goes under. Kurt, any last thoughts in this game, and then give us some overall slate thoughts, and then your play of the day. Let's get out of here.
No more final thoughts in the game. Good slate. There's going to be some chalk that you can maybe pivot off of late. I think that'll be the key. So be ready to kind of see how you're doing around 145-ish. Not much after that. Going to go play the slate, whatever the fuck we call it. I'm going to go Studi in the revenge game. 4,200 against his old team. I think he gets a start here, and maybe he knocks a few down.
Yeah, I'm warming up the studio on this slate.
Oh, baby.
Overall slate thoughts. I think Kurt, that's a great point with the pivots. I think there are some really good ones in these later games that might go a bit overlooked. Overall slate thoughts, and then give us your play of the day, Gav.
Overall slate thoughts. Make sure you have the Jalen Cook news. That's probably going to be most important, and the Oduro news. Other than that, yeah, my first build, I didn't really have anybody above 8K, I think, which is pretty rare for me, but like, yeah, the Oduro Carter tandem is fine. I don't know. I don't have much in terms of general overall slate thoughts, but the guy who I kind of talked through that I'm starting to like a lot, like how does he not get to 28 fantasy points is Max Asmus, for a 4X in the late window, 12 plus shots with peripherals, price down, back to the kind of the mid 7s at home against a bad perimeter defense. I think it's a really good spot for Asmus to 30 plus here.
He's going to get overlooked too. Like, yeah, I like these guys in the later window. Mine's going to be Jesse Edwards. I'm sure you knew that was coming. I think both Edwards and Asmus are really good plays, and they're in the same game. Like, I could see both those guys out. Like, I think guys like Tyson Walker and Terry Shannon are going to be pretty owned here, and I think Asmus and Jesse have clear paths to not only beat them, but to beat them pretty handily on this slate. All right, we went over. It's 10:10 here. We got 50 minutes to lock. If you're a Run Pure sub, we'll be in the Discord. I'll be posting lineups and news. Kurt will be in there. Kurt will have a core up. It's a good slate. I like this a lot. So my core will be up. The playbook's up on the site. We have a big afternoon slate, big night slate. But yeah, that's all for us. We got to get after it and build our lineups. We'll see you next Saturday. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the waste management. Hopefully, Thigala stops hitting 80-foot putts. For Kurt, for Gav, we'll see you next Saturday.